So the first and the most important thing that uh, single-handedly I would say helped me, make this much money before most people even dream of it, was simply, as cliche as it might sound, detaching from the outcome. Okay, so in the Gita, Krishna says that you have a right to perform a prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So now, obviously, the problem is in the. I think this quote is a very beautiful quote, but in the mainstream matrix or whatever, it has been kind of abused. I would say because this is used by people in the how do you say this um, in the traditional like system or whatever the hell to brainwash people into just doing following the uh, directions of the elites and not questioning, which is not what Krishna means here, obviously. And what he means to say, as far as I understand, obviously, it's my understanding of this is that you know when you're doing your karma, okay, then what you have to understand is that if you get attached कि to the outcome of it कि क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा you know I need this particular outcome कि नहीं मुझे इतना चाहिए चाहिए ठीक है for example मुझे इतना ये करना ही है ठीक है and this might sound a bit weird but when I was doing the work to make this money I never really thought that I'll be making this much money. Like I'll tell you the story. So what happened was I was sent to Bangalore by my family, obviously, because whatever to get a degree and do engineering whatever. But I always wanted to do this, and I have always started doing this since my second year in high school. All right, so sophomore year. So I was getting a bit of results, obviously, but nothing crazy, right? So when I first came to Bangalore, and I'm drinking black coffee by the way, so please excuse me. When I first came to Bangalore, like when I got admission, then my goal was before my second or third year, I just wanted to make somewhere around 10 lakh rupees profit per month. Why 10 lakh rupees? Because it's a number that's thrown around everywhere, and I thought that number would also be enough for me. And I think I would have been pretty good. And I also knew that from third year or second, I think it was like third year onwards, yeah, it gets really tough and you have to like study a lot and whatnot, and you have to get like job placements and stuff. So I knew I will never be able to do that job and all that bullshit. So I had to make it before that. That was the goal I had. It's a pretty like, but I didn't really focus on it. I just obsessed over e-commerce because that's what I love to do. So I started doing it, and basically I was put in a certain circumstance where by the universe or God, what do you want to call, that I had no choice but to make it work and make it work so badly that I could just drop out and it wouldn't really make a difference. So yeah, that's basically what happened, right? But all of this wouldn't have happened if I was obsessed with my goal of नहीं मेरे को 10 लाख ही कमाना है and all that. I would have never reached here. So you're not in a position to tell the universe how much how much you want and by when you want it, because frankly, being honest, if you knew how to get it and how to want it, like how to achieve it, you would have already done it. But because you don't, you should leave that how to a power which is greater than yours, and instead just focus on what you need to do. That is obsessing over the process, not the goal, not the outcome, over the process. And I think you should read Gita. It'll really give you a lot of thought clarity. But there's, in the first, I think, chapter only, before it starts, before the war of Kurukshetra starts, Arjun is not able to fight, right? Because the people he's gonna fight is basically his family, and he's afraid he's not able to do things right. Why is that? Because he's thinking about the outcome of he's gonna kill everybody and it's gonna be sad and everything. But then Krishna tells him that you are just the medium. What you are about to do, that is your karma, dharma, whatever, has already been done by me. You are just a medium of doing it. So that's, I think, a very beautiful thing to remember whenever you're doing whatever you're doing. Because if you know that you are just the medium and it has already been done, then I really don't think you need to be worried about kya hoga or kya nahi hoga. So I think in Gita lies the answer to this, for kya bolte isko, frustration, annoyment, whatever, to things that people have, that whatever karma you're doing, okay, so you obviously nobody will support you. It's right there in the Gita. Krishna was opposed by his entire family. Sorry, Arjun was opposed by his entire family because he was going after his dharma or whatever. So that's going to happen. That's nothing in that. But if you get too fixated on the ifs and buts and the outcomes and whatnot, then you will simply not. You'll be paralyzed by the fear. All right. So what you need to remember is you need to just completely look at, as Krishna showed Arjun, that whatever he's about to do has already been done. He's just a medium of it, and just enjoy doing your duty because that's what you're doing after all, right? And if this is the problem that you're not enjoying it, then that is something you need to fix. Because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then you have a serious problem, and you need to find what it is that you really want to do and then go after it. All right. So yeah, now the second thing that I want to talk about that really made a big difference was, let me just take this and edit this out, is gonna be stop seeking approval. There's gonna be number 2, or should I say validation / approval. Now this is something that might come off a bit weird as to what I'm trying to say here, but the thing is that a lot of us, in fact not a lot of, everybody, every single one of us has gone through basically the same education system that was designed by John D. Rockefeller, Henry Carnegie, and the Horace Mann and all these other elites of that period, which was meant to create factory workers, right? It was not meant to create people who could think and do things on their own. So and it has been conditioned. That is why we are conditioned from the very beginning to obey or listen to or seek approval from our authorities, whoever is superior to us. Okay, like I'll give you a very example which I'm sure you might not have even thought of. Is nursery mein, ठीक है, whenever you're taught the first vowels, ठीक है, how are you taught this, ठीक है, how do you taught, sorry क्या बोल रहा हूँ मैं, how is it taught to you? You are taught A, E, I, O, U, ठीक है. It can be put in any order. These 5 जो vowels हैं, इसको हम किसी भी order में रख सकते हैं, they'll still be vowels. लेकिन इसको इसी order में रखा गया है, that is A, E, I, O, U. How does this end? I, O, U. When our brains and our minds are in very delicate stage, जब तक हम 7 साल के होते हैं तब तक हमारा सबकॉन्शियस सारा दिमाग डेवलप हो रहा होता है, and we are learning about the world, and we don't have a conscious mind, so we don't know what to filter, what not to filter. So everything goes into the subconscious, and this is programmed into us since we are children. Okay, I owe you, you owe the other being, this is completely not true. You don't owe anybody anything, but this is programmed right in your fucking head when you're like so young and so small, because this is what the elites want, that you seek condition, seek approval for everything, for going to the washroom, for absent ho to application letter do, बीमार हो तो उसके लिए लेटर दो, डरे से रहो, always seek approval, ठीक है. Now you might think that what does this have to do with making money? So the thing is that a lot of the times, ठीक है, you will not realize this, but what happens is because बचपन से हम लोग को इतना कंडीशन किया जाता है, इतना टॉर्चर किया जाता है, when you're able to make money and do shit for yourself, what will happen is that you will start setting out goals with the ambition of trying to impress all these people who when you were children tried to belittle you. It happened with me. It happens I have seen it happens with all the people I have known who have achieved something, that once they start making some money, they start setting bigger and bigger numbers because they want to basically make that inner child happy who was belittled by some bullshit people, right? Basically. So you need to go deep into your psyche, and I would suggest reading a lot of Carl Jung, because that will really help you unfuck your conditioning and everything, and try to understand that what is actually inside of you and who you are actually. Because if you are not able to do that, then you will keep chasing bigger and bigger thing, and this is what happens to a lot of people online, that they start making thoda bahut money, and maybe they make certain amount of money, but what happens is that they get stuck in a rut of their own, where they're chasing a bigger and bigger number, bigger this, bigger that, things in the materialistic world. Now the problem is that there is no end to it in the materialistic world. There will always be something to chase, there will always be something to have. So what you need to understand is that how much do you really want, or how much it is that you would like. Figure that out, just do that, and then you know just I don't know how to put this, just go after the development and fulfillment of your soul, because that's why you are here. You're not here to, money isn't even real. Like there's no such thing as money, or this is just a pixel on the screen or a piece of paper. It's the value that the humanity and these people have assigned to it, so that get stuck in this materialistic realm, and you're not able to escape it. But that's not why you're here, right? Obviously it's very important, and you'll only be able to do those kind of things when you have the materialistic side of things sorted out. That's really very important, that you need to understand how much it is you want, figure out what it is, and then just go it, and then learn and go after the fulfillment and harmony and peace of your soul, because that's what will give you fulfillment when you're about to die. There's no such thing as death as well. That's a separate story, but I'll talk about it in a different video anyway. So that's the second point. Now the third point. Now the third and the most these five things are not like any particular order. All of five of them are important, but you have to give them numbers. So that's the thing. The third thing is that your environment basically decides everything. Now by environment, I don't really mean physical environment here, okay? Because the thing is, nowadays, more than in the physical environment, we spend time in the digital environment. So I was really physically, I was in a really fucked up place. I was in a college hostel, so but then I didn't really spend time with those bunch of idiots, right? So most of my time was spent in the digital world, in my digital environment, and I was really, I would say, blessed at the very right time that I found my mentor, Ateeb. So and basically this entire journey, this entire thing was, I would say, in a way, just got, I don't know, I really don't know where the hell would I have been if it wasn't for if I wouldn't have found my mentor. I would say 100x my growth in like the span of 3 months, basically. So if I wouldn't have found him, then this wasn't simply possible. So it's really very important that you surround yourself with the right people, and they really push you toward and guide you towards the right direction, basically, right? So this is a mistake that I see people make, that they're very chindi and they don't want to invest in mentorships or whatever, and even if they will, they'll buy like the cheapest mentorship or whatever the hell, and they'll basically do chindi pana, I don't know how else to put it, and they'll not invest in themselves, and I would rather just go and do clubbing and whatnot. So what really happened was, I got this mentorship. This is from Ecom Tushar. So Ateeb was from Ecom Tushar, right? So I got in the mentorship, and Ateeb was my mentor, assigned to me in the program, and I would think it was probably the best investment I had, and I had made on myself, and it paid off like crazy. And to be really honest, I think and it was not really that cheap for me, especially like I was maybe doing like 10 lakh 15 lakhs per month that time. So I was making somewhere around 3 to 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs, something, I don't know, profit. And the mentorship costed me about 2,36,000 after GST and everything. So it was pretty heavy investment for me. But I, rather than spending that money or saving that money in the bank, which would just depreciate in value, I just decided to take the risk and go all in, and just change my life forever. So the lesson being that you have to invest in yourself and get in the right circles, get in the right place, because this is till this point I was just doing shit and didn't really understand how things work. But after this, my life completely took a turn, because I learned so much about direct response, about marketing, but psychology. I had read a lot of books, so I had a decent idea. But yeah, a lot about direct response and how e-commerce, and especially e-commerce in India, how does it exactly work, and what makes a winning product. So yeah, that's the thing. And that basically is if this, you get this right, if you have been unlucky to be scammed by a wrong mentor, then it's really sad. But then don't think it's a right idea to generalize that if you got scammed by somebody, then everybody would be like that. You have amazing people like Ateeb in this world who are probably one of the best human beings I know. He's just really sweet, and he's basically he just helped me change my life in this course of like 3 months. And he also gave me a month extension, by the way. You can watch my full interview with Iqam Tushar. I mean, it's there on his channel. So yeah. Other very important thing is that fear isn't real. There's no such thing as fear. Now, what do I mean by this? So the thing is that evolutionary, human beings or ancestors, whatever. I think you should read this book called The Theory of Evolution by Charles Darwin. I think it's a really nice book. You should read it. You'll get a good idea. And there's also, I think there's this book. I forgot its name. I don't know. I forgot its name. I'll try to link it. There was this amazing book that you can read basically to study the human evolution and how it has gone. So if you go and read our ancestors, the human beings who lived and hunt, what you learn is that they lived in jungles, right? They lived in open things, and there was no such thing as security or whatever the hell. So what ended up happening is that what used to happen obviously is that there was no such thing as safety, and during that time they had to feel the fear, because if they wouldn't feel the fear, then they would basically die. But as the civilization and as our societies have progressed, it's very rarely in today's world is someone gonna die out of some real danger. Danger and fear doesn't really exist in today's world. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about if you live in some really fucked up place, and I really don't know, but otherwise, if you live in some decent place, you're not gonna die at least, right? So it's basically like that. The fear is just arbitrary, right? So what happened is that the most primal part of the brain that we have, the most primal parts, the amygdala and the limbic brain, basically the lizard brain or something like that it's called, right? What happened was that these are the most primal parts of your brain, right? Primal parts of your brain. And the neocortex, the prefrontal cortex, these are the most I don't know if I spelled prefrontal wrong. I think that's spelling. So these are these are not the primal parts, but these are like your sophisticated new parts. This is like your logical brain, all right? Logical brain. So the thing is that these parts of the brain, they have very recently developed. They didn't really exist before. The amygdala and the older part of the brain are there from very before. So their neurological wiring is really very strong. And what happens is whenever you feel this emotion called fear, we have two nervous systems, as you might know. You have the parasympathetic nervous system and you have the sympathetic nervous system. What happens when you get some sort of anxiety or feel some sort of fear? Your sympathetic nervous system basically gets activated. And this is the nervous system that controls your fight or flight response. And this in turn is done by the primal part of the brain, the amygdala and blah, blah. So what this causes for you to feel exactly how you would feel if you would have real danger. But the point being is that you don't really have any danger. So all this is nothing but just a fuss. So if you can just be aware of this, that all this is just bullshit and there's nothing like this really exists, and give your logical brain some time to breathe, then all this will automatically just go away. Okay, now how do you do this? Okay, the way you do this is simply by being aware of it. You need to be aware of what's happening. And the thing is that I think I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think the amygdala is really very close to the brain compared to the neocortex and the prefrontal cortex. Like it takes some milliseconds, the amygdala, the data goes there sooner than the neocortex. All right. So what happens is that before the neocortex has any information, the amygdala gets the information and processes it instantly, and it just basically hijacks your entire sympathetic nervous system. So what you need to do is you need to breathe for a few seconds and let neocortex get the information, and that will basically do everything, because that will let you to think and allow you to feel that okay, there's nothing going on here, I'm not really in some danger, and nothing's really wrong. It's just my human emotions kicking up a fuss. And what this will allow you to do is this will allow you to be in the state of stoicism, or be a stoic basically, because if you want to be a real entrepreneur and grow as an entrepreneur, it's very, very important that you don't really you get the work done. And if you're in fear constantly, then you'll not be able to do so. So yeah, though you have to be someone who can work in spite of fear, but again, it's really difficult because this nervous system is activated and you're not able to think straight. So you have to be aware that this is not real, and you have to deactivate this and activate this so that you're actually able to, grow and do shit and make progress in whatever that is that you're trying to do. And you have to like go in the depths of your psyche to understand where all of this is coming from, because generally it comes from some really fucked up trauma that you have. And if you think you don't have trauma, by the way, you're wrong. Everybody has some sort of trauma. You just have to go deep enough. If you think you don't have trauma, you're probably wrong, because everybody has some sort of trauma that they have. You just haven't gone deep enough in yourself and haven't spent time in solitude enough to actually be able to understand yourself well enough. So what you need to do is you need to go to the depths of your psyche and actually understand what it is that is causing all of this, and just be aware of this. And then by just being aware, you defeat the enemy. I think it was said by Sun Tzu. So yeah, that's basically the thing. The fifth, and it's last but not really the least important thing, is just stop fucking researching and planning your life away and start doing the work. Be a man or a woman, whatever the hell you are. I don't care about gender, whatever it is gender you are. Stop researching, planning, and micro fine-tuning everything to be perfect. It will never be. There is no such thing in this world as perfection. All right. Everything is designed to be imperfect, and if you are someone who has this perfectionism tendency, you will never be happy, first of all, because nothing in the world is perfect. You have to find the joy in imperfection and the chaos, and try to bring order to chaos and enjoy that. And the thing about becoming successful and getting whatever it is that you want is that you will never have it your way, because as I said in the beginning of the video, whatever it is that you want to do, if you knew how to do it, you would have already done it. But because you don't, you probably don't know how to do so. So you should rather stop obsessing over how you're going to get it done, and instead just focus on the next step that you can take, and just take it, enjoy it, and do whatever it is that you need to do, and let the power which is greater than you, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, let it guide you towards your goal. Because if you're not able to do that, if you don't take action, it's simply not going to happen. You have to put cause to effect for anything that you want to manifest or bring into reality. It's there. You just need to put action to bring it in the physical reality. But it's not going to happen if you try to plan, try to prevent any sort of situation, or try to circumvent it is. Because there's this beautiful quote that I think I got to learn from Earl Nightingale, is that action comes from belief. If you don't, have belief that it's all going to work out, you're not going to take action. Do you know why? Because if you don't believe that, if you don't have the belief, or believe whatever, that it's going to work out, you'll try to avoid taking the main action because you don't want to be disappointed. But only and only when you have the pure belief that it's all going to work out, it's all going to turn out what you want, and God is going to help you get it, you are going to take action. And if you don't take action, it simply means that you don't believe it well enough or good enough. And this is why it's really important that whatever this tendency you have, and this also comes from some sort of school conditioning as well, because you're taught to life is very dangerous and but nothing is really dangerous. It's all very nice, and it's all designed to be nice and harmonious and nice and happy, and for you to win. You cannot lose. It's just a matter of time. But you need to understand that, and you need to take action and just stop being a jerk, and stop doing things that that doesn't align with whatever it is that you want in life, right? So it's really that simple. And if you try to imagine or prepare or plan for any unforeseen circumstances that might come your way, you will never be able to, because there will always something that you might not have thought of, you might not have prepared for. But the thing is, you will still get through, and but you will not never be able to come to that situation because you will never take action. But if you just have the belief and the faith that it will all work out, it will eventually do. As as cliche as it might sound from Shah Rukh's movie, that अंत में सब कुछ ठीक ही हो जाता है. So अंत में सब कुछ ठीक ही हो जाएगा if you just take the action, have the belief and faith that it will all work out. And that was the video, guys. I hope you guys liked it, and I think that's where I want to call it quits for today. I'll see you in the next one. If you're someone who wants to start and scale their own e-commerce business, then you can join the Discord server, and you can fill the application form that we have for scaling and growing the e-commerce business. That's the business model I have. If that is something that appeals to you, otherwise I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.